Welcome to Cranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Cranky, and this is the Cranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Cranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Cranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Cranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
that I did something different today, people. I don't hear my voice without me talking. I'm going to do more 10-minute video. But the Democrats believe that, you go high, as Michelle Obama said, when they go low. No, you go under the earth when they go low. Not going on high thing. Not going on our high thing. Now do that. If people go low, you go low also. Don't buy into that. I don't believe in that. I heard that Trump is negotiating the settlement or trying to have peace in the Ukraine. So he and his pal Putin, because he loves dictators, because that's what he is, and they're going to be negotiating without even Ukraine being involved. You're not hearing it? You're not hearing me, people? Let me know if you're hearing me. You're not hearing me? That makes no sense. That's not a good thing. He said he's not hearing me. That's not true. You should be hearing me. No, you should be hearing me. You guys not hearing me? Okay, you should be hearing me. Because I checked out my system before I came in. Trump also wanted America to take over Gaza. Now, if you think he had terrorism before, it only get multiplied 100% when that happens. And now Israel has no check on what they're doing because Trump will allow them to do whatever they want to do. They had limited check on the Biden and Harris. And this is just 10 times worse. I was reading an article today. I was watching a program the other day where they're saying, I will get to the whole topic I want to talk about, which is diaspora and local, that Jamaica's remittances is 3.7 billion for Jamaica, about 20%. Then tourism is about 30%. So 50% of Jamaica's GDP come from two sources: tourism and remittances. And most of that is by the American route. I would probably say 40-something%, maybe even more. That's not good. In fact, that's awful. In life, you don't want to have what we call concentration risk. And what that means, you don't want mostly source of whatever it is that you're trying to generate, especially income, mostly come from one source. Because that source dries up, you're in problems, major problems. So if the U.S. sneezes, Jamaica feel pain. You hear Trump talk the other day about the Chinese should leave Jamaica and should not be in Jamaica. You think about it, if you decided, you know what, I'm going to cut off remittances to Jamaica and forbid Americans to go to Jamaica. Jamaica is in trouble, major trouble. So I would behoove the leaders of Jamaica to think about how you diversify your revenue sources, because that's a good thing. The leaders in Jamaica need to think more holistically, more deductively, and to think about how to move the country forward as if almost every self-sufficient. Something like what China did a number of years ago, where they want to be self-sufficient by 2025, meaning if they never leave China, they have enough domestic consumption, investment, revenue sources, expenses to allow them to operate without depending or worrying upon any other nation, right? They now become the manufacturers of the world. It's almost how I have consumer base that allowed me to function without needing to rely upon outside sources. I think Jamaica's leadership need to really think more creatively about how to diversify the revenue sources. Because when you have 50% of your revenues coming from almost 50% from one source, which is the US, it's a recipe for disaster, especially if you don't have a good relationship. We learned in the 70s and early 80s, when Jamaica was flirting with communism and socialism, what happened with the CIA and all that, it's not a good thing. And with this person in power in the US, it's an awful thing, actually, because he has no filter. He can do whatever he wants. He believes in being a bully. He believes in being a dictator. And he believes in taking what he wants versus, I wouldn't even say acts, versus believing that you're a sovereign nation. He believes that the US rules the world and should do whatever they want. But bullies don't know to bully because he can't bully China anymore. Even though he does have the whole thing about not sanctions, but tariffs, he can't bully China anymore. So if you have, as I mentioned before, 50% of your GDP from one source, you are begging for trouble. Ikarik says, end times coming, the Lord. Why not stop me with the Lord thing, I believe in an omnipotent being. I don't believe in the Bible. I'm going to make that clear. I think the Bible is written by some people who want to continue to their dominance and they want to subjugate people to certain things. So they wrote a Bible, and especially black people buy into it, live by it. It affects how they think. It affects how they work. It affects how they operate. It affects how they congregate. It affects how they liaise. It affects everything about them, and it holds back black people. And the people are going to hate me saying that because they're religious. I mean, I also don't care. But I think I played a Carlin joke the other day about the invisible man. I think people got to try to think for themselves and educate themselves outside of some people trying to tell you how you should live and tell you how you should follow a certain script, which they don't follow themselves. That's so much bunch of baloney. You should follow and live a certain way, but I'm not going to do it because I want to control you. No, not buying that. DZ said, so isn't the Bible referring to an omnipotent being? Yes, it does. But the omnipotent being, when the West came this part of the world, those individuals, the Incas and the Aztecs, they were worshiping some omnipotent being. They didn't have no Bible because I think it's built into our human psyche that there's an omnipotent being, and one can't determine how we got here unless there was one. What we haven't thought about is, well, where that being come from. But we won't get into that today. I'd love to have those conversations. We'll get that today. I'm not buying the Bible. Not buying the Bible and the 10 Commandments. They should live by. And then they kill each other like crazy. Or they commit fornication. Or they commit promiscuity. I'm sorry. Sell that to somebody else. Here's what I don't understand. So the government, the US government and Trump and Musk and all of them, who I believe are fascists and racists and all that good stuff. It's no doubt. Musk is from South Africa. By the way, I'm doing a video on Trump and Musk, which I already completed. I just haven't published it yet. It's about 15 minutes talking about them. Are they disruptors, game changers, or just fascists and tyrants, actually? Cranky, hellfire. Yeah, I think that's what they did. They tell you that that the God who loves you, the contradiction is so, people, we could talk about this all night. The contradiction is so ridiculous, you can't even make it up. Somebody who loves me is going to make me be on fire for eternity. He wouldn't even be on fire for a couple of years. For eternity, if I don't get saved. Oh, by the way, if I kill somebody now, and 2 minutes later, I repent, and I get saved, and I die the next day, I'm fine. What kind of... Kiss me teeth, yeah, man. I go on. I'm a madman. Anyway, let me keep going. We don't know we're gonna buy that nonsense there. And they create so much fear in you that you would even challenge it and question it. And some people, and by the way, I would say that Jamaica has the most, supposedly, I don't think that's what Guinness Book of World Record says, but supposedly have the most churches per capita and the most murders per capita. It's just like the Bible. It's the contradiction. The contradiction is there everywhere. Anyway, so here's the thing. Trump complains about SO countries sending people who don't have certain qualifications to the country. He's mainly talking about people who don't look Caucasian. But what Trump hasn't talked about, and they talk about immigration and fentanyl coming across, that's why they have tariffs against Canada and Mexico. What we haven't heard about is, and the Caribbean is responsible, and the black politician responsible for this in terms of bringing this up 24/7 is the Caribbean, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Haiti, all those islands get annihilated by guns. People live in fear. You can't have economic activity because of the fear. 95% of those guns come from the U.S. So why isn't there a push to have the U.S. to restrict the amount of guns that flows to not only Central America, Latin America, and the Caribbean, but also South America? Why isn't there a congregation come together across this part of the world saying, this gotta stop? Your guns are killing our people. That's why our people are coming to your country, because they can't live in peace. That's why El Salvador have to take drastic measures, just lock up people in this prison. They have 80,000 people in prison. They lock them up without even any due process because they have so much murders, even though they went from like 6,000 a number of years ago to about 128 this year. Big drop, Jamaica. Look at the numbers. Jamaica police kill about 1,300 a year, somewhere around there. And they have over 1,000 murders a year. compared to El Salvador is now 128. But the measures they take, nobody want to live on those measures, right? So I don't understand. And Mexico also, guns flow across the border. Guns flow across the border like crazy. I hear DC saying Mexico was the only nation that was trying to sue America. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's out of control. That's why a lot of people leave the Caribbean. That's why a lot of Jamaicans don't go back to Jamaica. Let me tell you something, people. You see how Trump are going? If Jamaica was deemed safe, I am very confident Jamaica couldn't hold the number of people that come back to Jamaica. Bless up, Crystal, Talawa TV. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Let me say this, people, again. If Jamaica didn't have the crime situation it does, if Jamaica had a more safe environment where people can go back to, it couldn't hold the number of returnees coming back home. It could not. It would struggle. And that's more economic activity for the island. So you get affected by one, brain drain, because people leave because of opportunities and because of safety. And they don't go back home. They go to Florida, for example. They go to Florida. Who want to go live in Florida? Hot with pure storm, and you can come into your house and all sort of stuff. And a governor down there who is anti-black. So the U.S. gun, and people say, well, gun don't kill people, kill people. No, gun kill people. Sorry, gun kill people. Take away the gun and you won't have those killings. Nobody now run around go chop down people with machete. Because then them afraid for them get them miss and go get themselves chopped up. So they may manage that. Gun, them can do it from afar and run up and down. The point I'm making is that the Caribbean, Latin America, South America, they need to push back on the U.S. The U.S. is a bully. Trump is a bully. He's always been a bully. He's always been a dictator. And he's been enabled by some of the other white fascists around him. Even the ones who made no better, they don't do better because everybody want to maintain their position. So that's what we have. Anyway, I'm going to move away from the politics now and touch upon some football. I'm going to do a little bit of touching things first with what transpired today, and then we're going to get into my topic. As I say, I'm only here for an hour. So Everton played Liverpool today. I watched the game. I enjoyed the game. People, you see, when you have... let me drink some water. I'm going to hit up with it. This game was fun. You see, desire, people, even when you're not as good as somebody else, when you have desire, like ridiculous desire, it's amazing. Liverpool is a much better team than Everton. You couldn't tell that today. I think the players, like, they got 2 lungs, they got 4 feet, 4 legs the way they were playing, especially people like Decore, actually. They look like a better team than them. I mean, they've been winning of late. Don't get me wrong, since Moyes took over. But the derby, the vigor, the push, the no-lose attitude was evident today. They played hard. Liverpool had more technical players, better players. It wasn't happening. And Everton could have won that game, even though Liverpool were up 2-1 for a long time. And that last goal was a no-die type goal, which is Tarkowski coming up and slammed that ball into the net. But it was the aftermath. And you know, VAR killed vibes, right? Funny, because I'm watching, I think, as he scored, here's what I do nowadays. When people score, I like what does VAR say. It killed the initial enthusiasm, but I'm a VAR supporter, so I'm not going to knock. But when he scored, you would have loved to be in the stadium. Then you could actually feel through your TV screen the enthusiasm, the vigor, the vibes, the raw emotion that came across the screen. It was amazing. You could see the stands, especially in the stand where he scored to the right side of the screen. You'd love to be in that stadium. Now, I spoke to somebody at JFF the other day, communicated with them, and they were talking about, well, the price, and we'll get to this, the price is $10 for the stream, and if you go to the game, it's $12. And I'm like, are you devoid of common sense? Going to a game is totally different than watching it at home. Every game that you go to is more expensive than you watch it at home. And some people could watch the game at home and still go to the game because it's an activity, it's an event you want to go to. So $12 for the game and $10 on stream are not comparable. People play, I pay $6 per month or $7 per month nowadays for some stream. And you go to England, the game is probably 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds. If you go to Arsenal, the game should be over 100 pounds on average. So it's not a comparative, right? So it's the raw emotion that was there today. Truly, truly amazing. And then I watched yesterday Man City collapse. You sometimes wonder if then seeing Jamaica, them Obia me. Why you think Man City must get Obia because they're leading 2-1 and it looked like Real Madrid Obia them because them can't beat them. They can't beat Real Madrid. And they were giving some stats about how much minutes they have led Real Madrid in the competition. And Madrid has led Man City little or no time in those competitions except at the end. But that was a tough loss for Pep yesterday. It shows you that money can buy everything because they spent over £200 million in the January window and still struggling. Arsenal has no strikers. Crystal is in the house. Hey, Crystal, who's an Arsenal fan like me. Havertz got hurt. So Havertz is hurt. Jesus is an ACL. Saka is out. Maybe we're going to put the goalkeeper to play forward. We ain't got no forward. Now, I will tell you this. I am not one of those individuals who said Arsenal should buy a striker in the January window. I'm sorry. You want to build a sustainable program, you have to be very cautious about how you spend your money. And in January, you weren't going to get what you want. Don't buy somebody where you're out of basically 3 competitions and you only have a chance to win the Champions League. I ain't going to win it anyway. Wait for the summer. Go get what you want, whether it's Cesco or whoever it is, and regroup and start again. Don't waste your money. A lot of my colleagues in England and friends in England, they have a different view, but that's my perspective. UK-born players getting passports, there's about 3 that I know of that are being worked on, and at least 2 I think should be done in this window, and we'll see if that works out. No big names, but some of the names have been bantered around for a while. JFF live stream of the 2 games. So I will say this. I'm going to give the JFF credit for effort in terms of the live streams. The first one, which was a paid stream, I didn't know the second wasn't a paid stream. I didn't buy the first stream. I bought the second stream. See how backwards I am. Because I was at an event with Tiga done by Bellyful Restaurant in Brooklyn. Really nice place to see me showed on the channel. Great time with individuals there. The owner, Kimar, was wonderful. Treated us like a little bit like royalty, so I appreciated them. I understand, Crystal, and a lot of my friends in England think the same way, but I differ from them. I think it's too late to buy a striker. Come again in the summer. I think we'll get Zubimendi. We need at least 2 strikers, not 1. Havertz is not a striker. But it was really a lot of fun. Sunday had more people. AQ and his AQ, goes to every single Jamaica game that there's, no matter where the game is. He was there with some of his brethren to watch on Sunday at Beautiful. And it was good. Tigat was his normal boisterous self, but he had a lot of vibes, which is also great. So we had a good time. The first game, though, the stream was awful. And it's hard to test streams unless you get a large amount of people to be on it, to test bandwidth and all that. But I think it was probably more of the Wi-Fi versus just the stream itself. And Havertz is out, hamstring pull. And so the Wi-Fi, I think, I was told, I don't know if it's true or not, that it was somebody in JFF with authority bought the right Wi-Fi amount with the right bandwidth, and somebody said it was too expensive and change it, and we see what happened. Now, that didn't come out in the public in terms of the communication by the JFF, but that was what I was told. Not by someone in the JFF, by the way. I should make sure that's clear. I was told that's what transpired. And the Sunday stream was much better, even though it froze for me 5 times, but it was much better on Sunday. When I looked at the stream that was on Sunday, they had 98,000 views, which get me to this topic I'm going to talk about. They had 98,000 views. So we'll touch upon that actually, because I'm not going to jump into that now. I'm jumping it when I talk about the subject I want to talk about. The JFF did send an apology about the stream last week. Oh, no, and say it was the internet immobile. Yeah, okay. And let me say this. The apology to me was inadequate. It wasn't well written. I know JFF is not going to like me saying that. It wasn't. I think the JFF need to learn how to manage negative information, negative situation. And it's just like the under 20, which you hear me harping a lot. And there's a reason for me harping on it, which is when things go great, you get your flowers and you're happy and you're accountable. When things don't go great, you also have to accept responsibility and fess up and take your licks and move on. That's how life is. They don't do a good job of the latter. They do a brilliant job of the farmer. How? Under 14, just barely win a Caribbean championship. Not meaning they win easy, but a Caribbean championship. Everybody's out taking their praise. Cavalier win. Everybody happy. Under 20 lose. We don't hear nothing. Silence. Deafening. They sent a letter out apologizing for the stream, but half the letter wasn't about apology. It was mainly about, oh, this happened, but X, Y. No. And should I say this? We shouldn't say this. Let's just say, I'm going to say this. Let's just say this. The letter could have been much better written, should have been much better written, should have shown appreciation for fans and their support, and just talk about this now going to happen again, and we'll make sure it don't happen again. That's all I have to say. The letter wasn't well written, wasn't happy with it, didn't really show me that was an apology or something else. So that's me. And next time, contact me if you don't want to write a good letter. Anyway, a letter of apology. No, if we did anything there. The game on Sunday was free, which was the JFF making up for what transpired before. But if you're subscribed already, don't make a difference. People don't seem to realize that. No. If you're subscribed, it's for the whole month at $10. You'll get Sunday game anyway. Now, the JFF, I got the view. I'm going to transition into my topic now. I got the view from what I heard from what I heard, the numbers were greater than the JFF expected. If you look at the girls, the Reggae Girlz, when they play South Africa, I think it was about 115,000 for both games. Sunday's game was 98,000. People probably was dissatisfied. People probably didn't turn up. But 80% of the individuals who were part of that YouTube family and watching those games, my understanding, were outside Jamaica. Let me say that again. 80% were outside Jamaica. That's my understanding. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, if 80%, say you had 200,000 views, and 80% is outside Jamaica, which is 160,000. And the Jamaica population between, and I know VPN was probably an issue for some in Jamaica to watch a game, because you have to have VPN. Even if you can get free VPN, at least subscribe for a little bit, but people may not have that access. So maybe that's part of the reason. It can be okay that the outside versus inside is 4-1. It can't be okay. That's why I come to my topic today. It can't be okay, people. Is it a money issue? Is it an interest issue? I don't support the football. What is it? Because the JFF focus, I'm going to transition my topic now. JFF focus is on locally. Local players, local fans, local stakeholders. It's local. That's their focus. Now, to give them some credit, Dennis Chung and Avery and others are now trying to look outside Jamaica and see where opportunities reside and bring players in. And you hear Kyle and others who are now have their supporters club and trying to engender more diaspora engagement, right? Which is a great thing. You know what? Before I go there, somebody mentioned under 17. Sorry, Ricardo. I apologize, everyone. Let me jump around a little bit, but I forgot about under 17. Okay, I don't really watch quarter football, but me talk about it. So I watched the under 17 play. I watched the game actually on YouTube, and you have to have VPN if you're in the US. So I'm gonna go back to my topic, but I'm going to go to under 17. I did watch the game. What's your thoughts anyway before I say anything? Before I say under 17, what's your thoughts? They played the Cayman Islands. I did watch the game. In fact, I got a call from a friend of mine who don't normally watch Jamaica football. I don't know. And she wanted to see how she could watch the game. But then tell you, Diaspora, if you do enough, you can get involved. So you know how how I think, right? About these things. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the game, because I have a lot of thoughts on the game. There's such a big disparity in CONCACAF between the various teams. You wonder if CONCACAF and a number of the countries, especially in the Caribbean or this part of the world, if they focus on football, to be telling the truth. You wonder if they focus on football, because the US is winning games 20-something, El Salvador winning 8-0, Jamaica winning 9, whatever the number is. It doesn't look good, actually. I mean, you have some of those things you don't have that in Europe that much anymore, you know. Even the little countries, Maltas of the world, they don't get the beat they used to get. Almost like they start investing in football. So we got to have more of that. Look, I think Freddie and his contingent had the team for quite a while in terms of coaching them. I looked at the starting lineup. I looked at the team. And I'm going to say this. There are a number of overseas players in the team. I think 2 or 3 from Inter Miami who actually started. So it was almost like a Florida, New York, Jamaica team, frankly. I think there was one player unattached. But I didn't see any English-based players in the team. I'm not sure if there are any. Somebody sent me a list the other day, said there are 9 overseas players in the team. And it's probably very convenient to have people from America in the team. But let me just say this. If you want to... So we complain a lot, quite a bit about Englishmen, they don't want to come to the team, or they don't want to come in and pass the age. If you don't engage them when they're much younger, why should they come? Why would they even come? If you don't reach out to them in engagement when they're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, by the way, I have a long list of kids who are in that age who they want to put to a camp in England last March when the JFF technical committee or technical people cancel it. Why would they want to come to you when they know nothing about you? You haven't reached out to them. You haven't engaged them. You haven't tried to bring them in. You don't make the effort to bring the diaspora in that region as part of your community. Why would they want to engage you and give a damn? Right? I know people are going to say the price to bring them here. Well, you know what? You figure it out. Figure it out. I know people say it's expensive. I know Ricardo saying expensive. Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. Didn't St. Lucia have a player from West Ham on their team? I was told. St. Lucia with 100,000 people. Really? Who gave Jamaica a little warm time and could have scored more goals. Really? What are we talking about? Figure it out. There are a bunch of players there in England who probably would have to play for Jamaica. Figure it out. Let me just say this. Look, the under 17, I can't judge them. And it's going to sound like, here goes Cranky again. I can't judge them. I can't judge them. Sorry, I can't judge them. Can't judge them. Good win, can't judge them. Because Jamaica should be easily qualifying for the World Cup from this region, given that FIFA has watered down the qualification. Right? Can't judge them. And we played against Cayman, for Christ's sake. And if I key and them do what them do, but our tourist resort, they ain't a football team. Now, the kids look good playing against that team, especially the center forward. They look good, comfortable. But as I keep saying with Jamaica and the Caribbean is not your competition. No longer your competition. Trinidad used to be a competition. Trinidad has fallen off. Since them oil dried up, they ain't doing nothing. So yes, they won. They won convincingly. They scored more goals than El Salvador, even though they gave up a goal. But I can't judge the team until I see them play some better teams. Huh? We have no English-based players in the team, not one. We had what, a couple in the under 20, right? We had none. And I keep telling you guys, I have a name of 19 names on a list for March last year for under 15 and under 16. West Ham. 2 from Chelsea, 2 from Tottenham, Villa, Man U, all over the Premier League academies who were supposed to go to a camp in Man U that was set up, and then JFF canceled the camp and they give no explanation for them cancel it because they want local. So let me go to my topic. My question was, or my topic was, should the JFF focus more on the diaspora than on local? And people are going to be like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, I mean, let's think about it. I know we're competing with El Salvador or Illinois. What do you think El Salvador? If you beat El Salvador or Illinois, you still got to go to the World Cup, you know. You know why embarrass yourself. Always remember that. But anyway, because I think sometimes we think short-sighted. I'm getting a call in, people, and my phone is not hooked up. Give me one second. My phone doesn't seem to. Oh, you know what? I gotta put you on. You know what? I left my. I took my. Sorry, who's this?
Christy.
Hey, Christy, how you doing?
Good. The topic that you're touching on is very important. And it requires deep analysis. Outside of the sporting arena as well. And it has been touched over a little bit and put examine on a surgical basis. And Jamaica in a situation where starting in the early 70s when Michael Mann came to power, the Jamaica started, right? And with that situation, you find that a significant amount of who have the resources and the know-how live overseas. So, along with that, you have the ego of local Jamaicans who shy away from receiving input from Jamaicans who are living overseas. You know, Jamaica, we have that ego, nobody can tell you nothing. So when you have an event like the live stream and most of the viewers, you said 80% were overseas, I am not surprised. Because the Jamaicans who have the money, especially, but more importantly, the know-how, live overseas. You understand?
Yeah.
And it is in a broader society with people like you who are from the business community, and you have the resources and the knowledge, and we also see it in the football. We're the Jamaican footballers with the skills who can move the program forward. The majority of them are not on the island. And you have this tug of war between the Jamaicans like yourself who live overseas and local Jamaicans who do not have the know-how, nor the resources to move anything forward. It is just the truth. It is just the plain and unadulterated truth. And we have to stop beating around the bush for fear of hurting people's feelings. Sorry.
You okay?
Yes. I am a Jamaican who born in Jamaica, raised in Jamaica. I did not leave when I was very young or anything like that. But the difference between me and many Jamaicans who are in my position, who were born there, raised there, and grew up as an adult, I do not have that Jamaican ego. I look on the data, I look on the facts, and I am guided by those things. You understand?
I'm hearing you.
So even though I am more in the category of the local Jamaican, I recognize who can move things forward. And I have no shame in saying that it's just the truth.
No, look, I understand what you're saying, and I do think that through avenues such as sports, we can try to have better engagement between those who are based locally and those who are based overseas. You have to think about what are the avenues we have for that engagement to occur, and how we allow that engagement to grow, develop, mature, and become almost seamless as one versus us versus them.
Yes, because there is a difference between, we can't have a situation where you use a person or you use an entity just to keep you afloat and to give the impression as if you are the one that's competent. And when you look at the JFF structure and how they're running the football, that's impression that you get. They want just enough Jamaicans who try their trade overseas to keep the national team honest, but they do not want enough to make the team dominant.
Yeah, I don't think that's the reason. I think they are beholden to their local constituent. The JFF was elected mainly by, I would say, the parish presidents. I think every team get about a couple of votes. So between the male team, the female team, and the parishes, they'll get their majority, and they make sure they have to manage with the constituent. That's what they want. And I understand the need to promote, develop, and try to enable local players to have aspirations to make the national team and to progress their career. I understand all of that. But if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. So if the thing is that the JFF has done the best job of putting together infrastructure and a system in place and process in place and develop grassroots football, then at the end of the day, you will not be able to compete when you leave Jamaica. Now, as I said, this team, we talk about quota, has about 9 Jamaicans, I think, who are based outside the US. Based outside Jamaica. My contention is I didn't see any English player. Someone just said one Tottenham player was there, but I didn't see any English player that I know of on the team. So there's one Tottenham player, that's fine. But how much effort was made to recruit players from the UK? And as we know, the UK is ahead of the US in football, right? So if you I'm not saying go get 20 players from the UK. I'm saying you want to talk about balance, which I hear Marvick talk about, well, then balance out the team. And don't give me this thing about the cost precludes from doing so. Because here's what. Hey, JFF, can you tell us how much money you made from the stream last week, Thursday? You all right, Carla?
Yes.
You think you should go drink some water, you know? Can you tell us how much money you made from the stream? Because I can tell you this, 10 times 10,000 is 100,000. Let me repeat that. 10 times 10,000 is $100,000. And they're going to have 2 games. I'll talk about those coming up, which can also probably be streamed. So in essence, the JFF can probably actually fund itself leveraging Diaspora.
You're exactly right. And but the JFF cannot be allowed to ignore that constituent.
Well, we can't. We don't control that. We can only hope that they realize the potential and leverage it. But they can do whatever they want to do because they keep telling us they're not a public organization. They're a quasi-private organization.
Yeah.
So we can't tell them what to do. We just hope that they have common sense, even though like not that too common, and ensure that they bring the 2 communities together, because it will only help them to fund their operations, and it would only help local football, frankly.
Yes, and because what we don't talk about enough regarding the JFF is that the JFF is also hindered by the poor state of Jamaica's economy. And because when you look at many, especially where I live, when you look at many youth programs, they have sponsors. You know, when you look at many youth programs, they have sponsors. So you know, the English FA or the US FA, a significant amount of their revenue comes from sponsors. But in Jamaica, you do not have sponsors throughout the football pyramid to sustain the football, and any quality.
Yeah, look, I don't know much about the sponsorship. I know when I was growing up, it was like Pepsi that sponsors a lot of the junior football teams. I don't know that works nowadays. Sponsorship sometimes is hard to get. As you hear Dennis says a lot of times, the JFF didn't have the best reputation, so sponsors didn't want to do business with JFF. They have now done a good job of somehow remediating that reputational situation, which will then allow them to have much more engagement with sponsors. And he says there are a number of sponsors who don't want to come on board. So they have uplifted and enhanced their reputation and the view by sponsors of the organization, which would only help them going forward.
Yes. And many times you have these people that they push various ideas, and then the ideas are never backed by any research, because when you look at the idea of balancing a team with local players and overseas based players, and you have to ask yourself, where's the evidence of this working effectively? Because I would imagine if you have, say, a team of professionals versus a team of semi-professionals, and they are not on the same wavelength that will more bring down the team than enhance the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and the people who are promoting these ideas, they must be asked to supply the evidence of these ideas working.
Yeah.
If you have a class, for example, and the average grade of the class is say 90%, then you say, okay, you're going to even it out with some other students, and then those other students' average is like 70%. The average of the class will drop. It will not improve.
Right.
And you know, so we have to use logic and data and research when you're coming up with these ideas, and especially locally, we do not have a culture of data and research. We have a culture of emotionalism, hearsay, things that have been passed down, you know, from our grandparents that are not based in any reality or fact.
All right. So what do you want to say to conclude? What do you want to say to conclude?
I want to say, you know, what occurred with the live stream is not surprising to me, because the money is overseas, and until a concerted effort is made to bring in, you know, Jamaicans who have moved overseas, who have gathered up knowledge and resource, things are not going to improve dramatically, because the talent is not there local. It's just not there.
Well, the raw material is there, but I would agree that the technical ability at the level required to compete in some of the junior teams, the senior teams, is not the level that it requires to be. But I appreciate the call, caller.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Have a good evening. So let me say this actually. People always think that, hey, Cranky, you're bringing up this diaspora versus local again. But I think people don't realize that we're going to a world now where people are congregating of a certain persuasion and consolidating. You need to be together more so than even in the past as a people across the board. And I heard what's her name the other day was saying we have 3 million Jamaicans. I think it was Lisa actually was saying that. She was talking about some subject, and Lisa is very, very smart. And I was when she was saying it, I was saying to myself, no, Lisa, we have much more than 3 million Jamaicans. We have 2.9 in Jamaica. We have there's very few populations, very few people who may have as much people outside the country as they have in the country. And we have to start making concerted effort to be not just the island, but the broader Jamaican community. It's important, especially in this type of world. You'll be talking about concentration risk and how much money we generate from the US. It has to be that we're really thinking about the totality of the population and who we are, and stop thinking the island and diaspora. It's important. And when you think that way, then we wouldn't have this diaspora versus local in any activities, sports or otherwise, right? Because we were thinking about how can we improve one. It's like you have Kingston, the country, and the towns. All the talent one time was in the country, none in the town. And after a while, it gets spread out. You have to think about how do we make sure everyone is given an equal opportunity, it's fair, and they all give an opportunity to develop, and we can then maximize their potential, versus only those who are in first world countries, for example, who have better resources do well. We'd all be thinking about how we can help to improve this situation, the processes and the system. And it's very concerning to me that if we don't do that, 10 years from now, we're going to be saying the same thing. And if we can use sports to be a catalyst and facilitate some of this, we should. So, and I do think the JFF must now realize the income potential, the revenue potential that is out there from the diaspora, just based on this one small sample of these 2 games they played, which were friendly against, it's a friendly game. It wasn't even a competitive game. It's a friendly game, not even against a big team, because we play Trinidad all the time. And look how much interest you got. Can you imagine if you commercialize this as much as you can, if you advertise as much as you can, if you were engaging the community, what it may look like and the revenue potential? Think about it. If you can get 100,000 people paying $10, that's $1 million, right? You have 4 or 5 of those events in the year, you have $4 or $5 million. That could fund the JFF. JFF trying to get $12 million from the World Cup. Over a 2-year period, you make that same amount of money. If you think smartly, if you work smartly, if you really make effort and engage the different groups to allow you to do this. But I'm not sure that thought process where it should be to do this, right? DC said, if you're generally seeking the best, you seek the best no matter where they reside. I'm glad the Reggae Girlz don't have that problem. And that's not true, DC. The Reggae Girlz have that problem. Not the senior team, but the junior teams do. I don't think people realize this, I was told that even though, I think because Freddie's coaching this team, like there's a lot ongoing in public. I'm going to get myself in trouble tonight. I'm going to get a lot of trouble. They wanted the number in the junior teams to be 5 from the 7 that they tell everybody that it's supposed to be. Seriously, they want to be 5. Now, Freddie ain't going to have that because he's doing what he's doing. He wants to win and wants to get to the World Cup. But there were people in the administration pushing for 5 players. Now, they'll come out and deny it. Even with the Reggae Girlz, some of the girls themselves, I was told, wanted overseas girls to be in the team because they know just better. So we're gonna get Football Guru on TikTok and Paul Edwards coming in and say something different. I don't want to hear it tonight. I'm not listening. I'm not hearing it. I'm getting my information from excellent sources. They haven't been wrong so far, so they shouldn't be wrong. DC said, okay, DC, the senior team, yeah. But you guys know the coach for the under 20. I think it's the under 20 girls was fired, and he didn't know he was fired. Oh, I'm sorry, his contract wasn't renewed. You hear me always preaching about 5 coaches left, none of them because of performance. Well, yeah. But and some of that was just lack of some of the recruiting that's not done. It's just lack of know-how. Like some of the JFF doesn't do something because they don't think that way. The JFF has staffed itself with a bunch of individuals. Most of them, some of them, like Dennis, are fine and have certain vision, but some of them should not be in the JFF in any leadership role. They shouldn't. They don't add no value. And I'm sorry that people don't gonna like me saying that, but some people in the JFF, when senior roles, don't have any value. Don't have the thought, don't have the vision, don't have the strategy, don't have the know-how, haven't been exposed, is in their little world. They shouldn't be part of JFF. They just shouldn't. But they are, which then hold on the whole organization. And I'm not sure why people in the business community, and Dennis has done this, don't try to get involved with the JFF and help them progress the organization. Because you have people holding them down or holding roles because they have votes and they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't. I'm hearing you, Cranky, make up too many false stories and third-party information. All right, Football Guru. Hey, Football Guru. It's very unhealthy for you to call me a liar, Football Guru. Let me just say this again to you, because you don't know what you deal with. It's very unhealthy. This is not a threat. I'm just making a comment. You call me a liar. So I'm not going to put it in the comments again. If you're going to call me a liar, Football Guru, you got to have facts to call me a liar. I'm not sure who you are, but it's a very distasteful comment. I don't take it lightly, Football Guru. Let me tell you that right now. If you're going to call me a liar, it's not okay. It's not okay for you to call me a liar, Football Guru. I try to live myself by certain principles. I don't lie. So when you come here and call me a liar, it's not okay. You're rude. You're disingenuous. The words I want to tell you, I can't say it on a YouTube channel, so I'm going to leave it alone. But I'm not going to engage you anymore. I tell people, when you come to this forum, you be respectful. When you can call me a liar, but I'm not having you. I'm not putting any more of your comments. I'm not having you. Go someplace else. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't call you a liar. I don't call anyone a liar unless I have facts to say they're lying. If you're going to come here and call me a liar, it's not okay. So I'll keep going. But let me say this. We as a people have to do better. We have to do better. And as I get more seasoned, I get more frustrated. I get more experienced. Before the game, I'm not Mr. Football Guru. Done with him. Okay, you come here and call me a liar, it's not okay. And it can never be okay. And I'm not banning you either, but I'm just not going to engage with you. You can text all you want in this channel. It doesn't really matter. Maybe the audience can listen to your nonsense. But let me just say this, which is, it's important. It's important. Whether you're from Trinidad or Guyana or Haiti, we have to understand as a people, we're under siege. The men in the White House don't like any of us. I never understood the whole concept of racism, you know. And by the way, somebody sent me a thing today, which I was very familiar with, that the way people define racism is nonsense. Racism is about power. It's about elitism. It's about control. It's about system. It's not about, oh, I don't like somebody because they're Caucasian. That's not racism because it's ineffective. That's being prejudiced. That's not the definition. We didn't define racism, you know. The Caucasian population defined racism. That's not us defining racism. Go look at what racism definition entails. So when somebody calls you a racist, I'm not sure they understand what they're talking about. They're taking the more vanilla notion as to what racist definition is. That's not racism. Because we don't have no control. We don't control anything as people. And us in the Caribbean, look at what happened in Haiti and some other parts of the Caribbean, and we just almost allow it to happen. There's no rallying occurring. There's no way to try to solve these problems. We just complain and cry and go back and do the same crap. Because it's not just our leaders, it's just us as a people in general, actually. Because leaders sometimes can only do so much. It can only do so much, right? So it's interesting. But at the end of the day, we as a people have to do better, right? We see things where a guy have oil. It's almost like when you have oil and those things, it's a curse because there's so many greedy hands when they get their hands on it. The Americans who come in with their companies rob them blind. If you read some of the information about what's happening in Guyana and about what Exxon and others are doing, you'd be amazed. Like, are we being led by bozos or by people with brain? Or are we led by just people who are just greedy and they don't care about them, the others around them? They just care about their own personal pocket, which is just X'd up. I want to use another word, F word, but it's X'd up. It's not good. But let's back to the football, because I know I go between parts in football all the time, but they're also interrelated. I'm not saying, so about the diaspora versus local, the JFF has to focus on diaspora more. The JFF has to be a catalyst, people. The JFF have to realize that their future may depend on the diaspora. Meaning you can have a future, and just be average, don't progress, can't invest because you ain't getting the money. What if we don't make the World Cup? Which is a possibility. We're just going to go fall away and die? Or do you try to maximize whatever revenue sources are out there, try to learn what those sources are that you could generate revenues from and pursue those sources? If we're giving, let's say we had 3 million people outside Jamaica, right? If we're sending back 3 billion, and by the way, half those people are not old enough probably to even work. Maybe not half of them are. If we're sending back 3 billion, that means each person is sending back $1,000. So the diaspora send a lot of money back to Jamaica. Good night. Good evening. Who am I speaking to?
Good evening, Granky. CB.
Bless up, CB. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm listening to you, and I was sitting here the other day having a meditation, and I was thinking about
You're meditating.
Overall. Yeah, man. I will a meditation one morning, man. I will a meditation, and a thought came to me about football, and I said to myself, the only way we're going to fix the problem, in my opinion, is to kind of educate the local, let's say the local people, but educate local Jamaicans in regards to where football is. Because I think a lot of times, because we get so wrapped up in our own world, we look at high school football as the catalyst, and we don't understand the world has passed that level. And, we think that we're good where we are. And I'm saying the kids back home are not good, and they probably need some more coaching. So we need to get the adults the proper coaching so they can coach the kids. Because it's not the kids' fault, It's the coaching that they're getting. The coaching is not at par where it needs to be. Then we need to change the culture of how we watch football. Shifting is not football. The world has moved on from shifting. If shifting and people are saying wicked move, African players will be where we are. But they stopped that. They're playing systematic football, passing, touching, moving into space, running into channels.
Did you watch the under 17 today? I think they play. They try to play They've tried to play possession football. You can see they've been coached, actually.
Right.
The under 17 has been coached. Now the competition it wasn't strong, but they have been coached. Right. So I'm gonna give Freddie some credit for that. Yeah.
No, Freddie's been doing a fantastic job. He has the kids, and I think one of the reasons why, in my opinion, the JFF probably won't come and explain themselves, because I think a lot of times they don't explain themselves properly. They're probably saying, okay, it's easier for me to get kids from the US and locally from this side of the pond compared to travel from the UK, the amount of time that Freddie had, because Freddie has done a lot of work with them. They've been in New York, they played in Mount Vernon, they've been all over the place playing a lot of games, so they're homing their skills.
Right.
I don't think they could be able to afford it bringing kids from England. Because, if the kids come from England, their parents have to come to you. You can't have them for 3 or 4 weeks without their parents.
I don't necessarily think it was. I don't think it's that actually. I think the US thing was that you got to remember now. Some of this wasn't started by the JFF, but under 17 now. Remember they were up in Port St. Lucie when they had the players there. They're coming from all of the US. They gave tryout. Freddie got involved, right? And Freddie would obviously run his own academy.
Yeah, there was a lot of camps in the US.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yes, the US is much more convenient, is much easier. And obviously, I was told, okay. People say me I tell lies. I was informed that there was some contention about how many people could be in the squad. Now, the JFF said we have 7 slots, and if you want more, you come and ask for it. There were some contentious issues that transpired, I was informed of, surrounding some of this. They have about 9 players in there, but there were some contentious issues. Some of the players who start are from Mount Pleasant and were good players. They look like good players, right? But it wasn't as smooth as people think it is.
But okay, it's the same thing again, right? Because when you look on the team and we're always talking about football, we're only talking about football from one side of the island, not the whole island. So even in the island, we have the division. Because then Calaveras and Kingston country, you don't have a lot of country players in the team.
Well, depends on you look at it, right? So the players who play for Mount Pleasant, for example, are they from town or from country?
Yeah, but that's one side of the island, Cranky. The other side of the island, where the Montego Bay, the St. Lucie, you don't have, Lucy, you don't have none of those people, none of those players being recruited to the larger team.
Well, no, they supposedly have 4 scouts now. I mean, at least for the TDSS, the talent development program. Maybe not the under 17, because the under 17. No, the under 17 team they've been together for a while now. They've been together for a long while, right? They've been playing together for a long while. And it looks like it too, but they look like they're connected. Yeah.
Right. The chemistry is there. The kids are building, they know each other. You see them. If you pay attention to the JFF page, the Instagram page, you do see the kids spending a lot of time together. So yes, they're developing chemistry.
Right.
But I think one of the problems, in my opinion, with the JFF is not pulling in enough brainchild from overseas. And I guess if you bring in oversight or external individual, they will see underneath the rug and kind of turn over and expose. Because I think ultimately they need a scandal to expose the JFF for just the inner workings of it, and then people will have to see what's going on. I think
Raymond came in and said the JFF was corrupt. I didn't say it. Raymond did. I don't know if they are or not. I would never make those allegations unless I had a journalist.
You need a whistleblower. As a journalist, we need a whistleblower to come out and say, this is what's going on, so people can say. But at the end of the day, if someone comes and says the JFF is corrupt, or allegedly, or come and expose all of these things, what difference does it make? Because it doesn't change anything.
Exactly. It doesn't. Look, it's a FIFA organization. The government can't control. Nobody can control them except FIFA, and FIFA doesn't control anything. So it's going to be what it is. We just have to live with it and hope they listen and hope they make changes.
Listen, and they don't have to. At the end of the day, this is where the mission statement comes in. What is the goal of football in Jamaica? This is what we have to ask the people of Jamaica. What is their goal for football in Jamaica? Because that is what we don't ask. Because if you listen to one of the things I've realized in the YouTube space, right? And I don't know why we tend to argue and fight. The same set of people that listen to your channel go to another channel. It's a small collective of us going from channel to channel to channel. It is not like, if you think about it, you're not bringing in a whole bunch of people from inside Jamaica, because they're not on the YouTube as sitting down there every single day. For them, YouTube is something totally different. They're not sitting arguing football. So at the end of the day, before we keep saying overseas, what does Jamaican people want to see for football? What do they want? Are they just okay with football, schoolboy football, or they want to play international football? Because you know what? When the team is not doing good, nobody shows up. But when the team is trying to do good, they might tell you that they want a limited amount of players. It don't make any sense. Make it make sense. When the team is no good, all of the 20 years where we have not qualified for World Cup, and you have used local players and you didn't make it, now you're trying to make it and you're getting better players from overseas and locally in the US. It's some in Jamaica, because there's good players in Jamaica, but they just need more exposure. Your job as JFF should be pushing them overseas so they can get the training, come back and make the team better. The rest of the world is doing it. Why do we want to do it different if the rest of the world is doing it and making money off of it? It behooves me why we think this way.
Yeah, look, I've said it before that the Caribbean has been affected materially by immigration. It's very funny. I'm gonna do a program on this actually, and I started thinking about it. Is immigration good or bad for the Caribbean?
Bad.
Which may seem, well, yeah, in a lot, it's good in some respects, but it's bad in our respect, right? If you 20% of your GDP comes from remittance, that means it suggests that it's good. If you have this all sort of brain drain, new industries not being created, etc., it's bad for you, right? So there's a balance to this, but it's a concern because you just wonder if the human capital element and the drain that we have materially affects our progress, or would we just all fall in that same malaise and do the same thing that people who are there? And it's not mean that people are there and some people are not doing well, because some people are doing phenomenally well. It's just that holistically, I don't think we are where we should be in a lot of different disciplines and industries, frankly.
But the discipline that we're doing well in is music. We're doing well in like track and field. And when you see success in one, you think it cascades. And there's people in Jamaica, average people making a lot of money. They could be doing it in entertainment, whether they're the artists, they're promoting, whatever, and they're making a lot of money. But initially, they probably made their money in a different sector, whatever that is, and now they're transitioning. But we only see in my opinion, we see the end result. We don't see what it takes to get there. So, all right. So let's ask this. Mr. Speed as a pro license. He's the highest coach in Jamaica. You win with Cavalier. It's about time that you let go Cavalier for somebody else to run and you go look another job overseas, and then you can have your coaching tree. How many times are you going to win Caribbean Cup? You should be looking to go overseas if that's something that you aspire to. You have the pro license, so you should be going over to make a way for someone else to come in and coach a team and keep it turning. One of the things is once we make success, we don't want to leave.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, I wouldn't use him as the barometer. He's probably getting up there more seasoned, probably seasoned. You know, people like myself are seasoned. We don't. You got to get younger coaches to go overseas.
I agree.
Right? You probably look for coaches who are like under 40, for example, to go overseas and go get experience. Like I said, like Miguel Cole is the one example everybody keeps using, right? But you need more of them to go get experience outside Jamaica, and not necessarily in the Caribbean either. Because you want to go see as much as possible of the world, and maybe you have an opportunity to come back and coach a national team. You want to build a resume which can stand up to scrutiny and which suggests you have what's required to be in position to coach a national team.
No, I agree. But one of the things we have to do, we have to start sending our coaches overseas, because what happens is no matter how good you are in Jamaica, in Trinidad, as a local coach born and raised, the rest of the world is not going to give you a chance. Dwight York couldn't get any other thing until Trinidad called him. You know, he went places, you're assistant, you know, you're probably second in command, but you are never given that job to run the whole team. Until one of us goes overseas and say, hey, I can coach at this level, no one is going to look at us and say, we can coach. If we need, Leon Bailey is the anomaly. We need 15 Leon Bailey to come out of Jamaica, and people can say, you know what, there's talent in Jamaica, so let's go look. Until that happens, our kids are not going to get the look in that they want. And putting them on a national team, and then when you send them overseas, they fail, is not a good look. Sending a player, you've been in the professional world. Would you push someone to lead a team if you know that he's not 100% ready to lead?
Well, it depends, right? So it depends. What happens is that if you don't know what good looks like, then you won't know whether the person have
that is true.
You got to know what good looks like, right? Keep saying that. So if you don't know what good looks like, then how are you going to know the person probability of being successful, right? And look, I think we shouldn't beat players who have to return home. There are tons of players.
I'm not beating them.
No, but I'm just saying there are tons of players who go overseas and don't make it because the competition is so stiff. There's so many players. But what I'm saying is that when you have the raw material, which is the physicality, and you need to enhance that physicality, and we don't do a good job of doing that, we're doing a disservice to the youths. Big disservice to the youths.
The reason why I said go receive and not have all the attributes, I'm not saying that they're not talented and they have to come back. What I'm saying is, if I push you forward and you don't dot the I's and cross the T's at the basic level, coaches communicate, coaches talk. You're saying this is my second player from Jamaica, and they are not. They're good in speed, but they're not good in this, and they're not good in. Then all of a sudden, this narrative builds up of Jamaican players, and every time that they have to come up, they have to prove that they're not that. Instead of starting from a certain place and going, okay, we're moving forward. That's what I'm saying. We should transition from maybe to here to college, go that route. Make sure our players are well coached, well trained. Because when I asked Mr. Speed the other day, I said, Mr. Speed, how many hours you guys spend training? He said 2 hours on the field. That should be 2 hours on the field and maybe another half an hour on the blackboard to saying, okay, when the ball come here, so transition here, so this is the line. They don't do that. It's all running up and down and talking on the field. Sometimes people need to visualize and see movement, see challenge, because that's what you do. When you go to Liverpool at 12 o'clock, you don't come out till probably 2. And you're going to meet board meetings, you're going to trainings and all of these things. And granted, yes, Jamaica is not Liverpool, but this is what goes on in a professional environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think I heard someone, but I appreciate the call, CB. I appreciate the call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I heard someone mention that, Pep one time link up with Bielsa and they sit down and talk for hours football, right? Because everybody want to learn what somebody else is thinking, what their thought process is, what they've tried, what worked, what doesn't work. And they want to bring all that information together when they go out and try to provide guidance and coaching and managing a team. And so the best coach is always looking and trying to enhance what they're doing. But if you just stay locally, how do you get that knowledge? How do you get that information? Right? You have to expand your horizon. And I'm not sure we do that enough, right? And I've always said this. I used to say it to my staff when I worked out in the corporate environment, which is you should always try to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to almost deliberately put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and see how you navigate it. That's how you get to be great at things, right? You can't always, if you can't get comfortable with the uncomfortable, then you're going to be challenged. You can only be put in unfamiliar situations sometimes, and you don't know how to react because you're not going to be comfortable with things when they change or things which are not as you view them or as you know them. You'll never be able to navigate uncertainty. You will always just be comfortable in your environment you operate in because it's on the corner and it's okay. It works. And you know it works. Nothing new, nothing different, nothing changed. You won't be able to navigate that. And I think when I see the JFF, I think they're comfortable. They don't get uncomfortable, which is not good. It's not good. That needs to change, people. Very, very much so. Very much so. So my hope is that doing a stream is something new for the JFF. Trying to generate revenues through a stream is very new for the JFF. And I applaud him for that. Right? And as I've given Dennis a lot of credit about trying to balance the books because that's the most important thing, frankly. So hopefully it continues. Before the game says, while valuable, formal education alone is insufficient for long-term coaching development. They often lacks the adaptability required for real-world challenge. Yeah. You can't just sit in a classroom and do something. And in fact, a lot of us know when you go in the practical environment, it's so much materially different sometimes from the classroom. But the classroom a lot of times is theoretical. It doesn't put you in situations where you have to adapt. And if you can't adapt, you're going to be challenged. So hopefully, the JFF have lessons that they learn from the streaming that they went through and will leverage those lessons to put a better product forward. And they did on Sunday. And they also learn in not asking or requesting people to buy the stream for Sunday. They gave it away free, even though, as I said before, if you bought the stream already, you would have still got the stream. Now, back to the whole diaspora versus local. If the JFF can manage both situations, great, fine. But if you have to focus in one given area, if you have to make a decision about where to spend your money, if I was the JFF, I would try to bring the diaspora under my umbrella, leverage the revenue they can provide, and then use that revenues locally. Because if you think about it, I've said this before, and some people don't like it. JFF can't do nothing for the diaspora. Apart from watch a few games, they can't do nothing for the diaspora. Apart from give us a little bit of entertainment. But the diaspora can do a ton for the JFF. They can generate the revenues, and money is important. Probably the most important asset, apart from your health. And then they can use that revenues. If you have health and you're poor, that's not even good either. But anyway, they can use that revenues for a multitude of things that they may want to do. So that's very, very important. As somebody had said famously, JFF can't do nothing for them. Can't do nothing for the diaspora. The diaspora never really said that. Because the diaspora want to help. I was talking to someone the other day who just came back from Jamaica. They were there for about a month, and they were saying to me, they were doing something for their high school. They went to Manning's. They were doing something for their high school. And I was saying to them, you know how many people I know in the U.S.? All the people I know who are alumni of school do something for Jamaica. I mean, we have these big raffles. Every alumni organization I know, and most of the schools in Jamaica have alumni. Sometimes even primary school have alumni, not just high school. And they collect money, they buy stuff. But I'm not sure the country reciprocates to the diaspora. I don't. Not in terms of money, but in terms of appreciation and engagement. I don't think it's there. It's almost as if, you know what? You should be doing this without any need for acknowledgement that you're doing it. We then say, as I say, Jamaica, you're ungrateful. The way I view it. You're ungrateful. But the diaspora don't mind doing it because the diaspora is appreciative of where it came from and want to give back to where it came from. And I hear the complaint about, well, when games are played in America, the diaspora don't attend as they... Well, you know what? Because there's no connection. Maybe connection back with their high school, especially you look at champs, for example. But the JFF haven't gone out and do the legwork to let people know that they can be part of this whole contingent, this whole organization. They'll work with it's only now you see Kyle and others having supporters club where you see some of this occurring. It wasn't occurring before. There was no engagement with the JFF. They don't have an outreach program. They're working on these things, leveraging and bringing the supporters club, but they can do 10 times more. My hope is that Avery and others who are going to be part of the organization can work on this and really bring the diaspora under the umbrella, not the one umbrella that people talk about in the organization, but under the umbrella of the JFF. And you'd be surprised if we're organized, like I see in the US, the Hondurans, the Guatemalans, the El Salvadorians, the Mexican, how they organize when they play game in the US. You'd be surprised if you're organized, like people do for the pen relays, or you can bring so many Jamaicans to the event. Look how much people go to pen relays. Now they have affiliation with their high school, but they also have organizations who have bus that they come together, transportation to bring people to the event. If the JFF work hard over the next over the next year, because we have World Cup in 2026 if we go, to do this, it'd be so much better. So much better. And Warren Weber says, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people, Warren, who do a lot for their schools in Jamaica. I don't think Jamaica has maximized they have maximized how they can leverage diaspora, especially in certain areas, right? So they'll take the money, but they don't want the brain. They'll take the money, but they don't want to engage with you. They don't want to be part of any organization, right? Which is just interesting. And so many people have left Jamaica and have done well by themselves and are in great positions to help in a lot of different ways. And yet, I don't think it's leveraged very well. Before the game says, does the Caribbean people in diaspora share the same belief, values, and behaviors of our people in their respective islands? What does that mean before the game? I'm not follow that. So I do, as I said before, I wasn't going to stay long tonight. I stay longer than I plan to stay. I plan to stay for an hour. And I've been here for over an hour. So I'm gonna close it down soon. But I do think the JFF need to spend more time focused on the diaspora. A lot more time. And in fact, I would love to know how much money they made actually and how much came from the diaspora. Let's say they made conservatively for the 2 games, well, they didn't charge for 1 game. Let's say they made $60,000, $70,000. So and if that's the case, 40-something came from the diaspora because they're saying, it's about 80%. They can fund a lot of what they do by really leveraging and exploiting that avenue, which I think they should do much more of. I'm not sure they've done it enough. And I go back and I talk about the leadership of the JFF. Yeah, there are some people there who are good at what they do and will help the organization move forward. There's some people who should vacate their position because they add no value. But they ain't going to leave because it is what it is. They're not going to leave. But they should leave. Because if you're not adding value, why are you there? If you just dare to pick up a little, say you have a position and a little money here and there, then you deny somebody else who could add more value, especially intellectual capital. That's an imperative. Because the JFF has to realize that the status quo cannot continue in a number of areas. Some areas they're doing better. They got to do better. And I will not stop beating the drum about the view that we should have meritocracy. We shouldn't have quotas. And I wasn't watching junior footballs. You know, I get texts nowadays, you got to watch under 17, everyone under 17. So I did watch them today. As I said, I can't judge them because of who they played. But I won't say they don't pass the ball because they were passing the ball. Right? I won't judge them how they played. Bless up Triple E, thanks for joining. But I did think they were really trying to play. I can see when a team has been coached and coached well. But the proof is in the pudding where you play a certain level. And the question is, can you do well when the level steps up? Right? We all can be comfortable on the ball. And we all can do certain things. But when you have pressure, defensive pressure in your face, can you really maneuver away? I will say, though, that what I saw in some instances was vision, especially from the center forward. I think he's a very good player. And the pace of his passes were really on point, especially in tight areas when he tried to playing his teammate. Right? Big, strong, skillful, have vision. There's a lot of the attributes. But as I said before, a lot of times it's hard to judge until the competition steps up. So hopefully they beat El Salvador, right? Will be a tough game, difficult game, but it's a chance to go to the World Cup. They have to necessarily win that game. I thought I didn't watch the entire St. Lucia game. I just watched some highlights on other segments of it. I thought they had some trouble, especially from the center forward in that game, and gave up chances in that game, which you don't want to see actually. Because when I hear St. Lucia, you have this perception of, you hear St. Lucia, you're St. Kitts, you're St. Vincent, small islands, hitting above their weight, or playing above what level you'd expect them to play at. But I thought they gave Jamaica some trouble. But the team looked good against Caymans, but I don't know how to judge team when they play against Caribbean competition. I see US scoring, 20-something. It's hard to judge. Warren says, Jamaican always need a reason to go home, and eventually they do that. That's why a flight from Toronto is ridiculously high in supply. Yeah, but I think the problem that we have, Warren, is that I think that number would be 10 times that number if Jamaica didn't have the crime that it has. 10 times that number. 10 times that number. People probably be going back. People probably be going back more often, stay longer. Right? So, yeah, before the games, and St. Lucia's giving Salvador. Well, they have a couple of players who play in Jamaica, and I think I heard that one of the kids who play up front is from West Ham. So maybe the one English kid playing in the tournament. No, Jamaica have none. Can you imagine Jamaica bringing like 4 or 5 of the very good English players, a couple with the local players, a couple with the American players, what they would look like? And people tell me about some money thing. Right, the money thing. If they may ask the money thing, we'll probably just make up if the players aren't good enough and buy them tickets. We've done it before in the past. We'll just collect. Give me 400, give me 500, give me 300, give me 200. Okay, add up to 10,000. Are they going to use the JV? Could I use the money? But them get from the stream and pay a fee. I never expect money, unexpected money. So now I'm buying this thing about no money thing for the English-based players. At a quota thing, why the English-based players not involved? It's all about the quota. The quota is the most important thing for the JFF. Don't buy this notion about it's too expensive. Now I'm buying it. And those kids are not pushing the fly no first class either. So this whole thing about quota, I'm not buying it. But anyway, let me close down by saying this. JFF, because I know sometimes you guys you don't watch these programs, but you do. My hope is that you continue to move in the right direction. You continue to exploit revenue sources. You continue to work to engage the diaspora community and leverage them. And not only ask for financial resources, but other resources, meaning advice, feedback, right? Because I think that's important. You can probably get as much out of that as you do just the money itself. So I hope that's the case. I hope you do that. And I hope that as a people, we realize what times we're living in, right? I mean, we see what's happening in the US. we're not in favor. Well, we've never been in favor, but we are so much out of favor nowadays. And if we're out of favor as a people, we got to figure out a way to navigate what I'm considering the treacherous environment. I'm not sure people in the U.S. realize what we're going through, As I said before, this is the making of a dictator. And for a democratic country, a country that had democracies for God knows throughout its history, it's not a good time. It's not a good time. And the lack of democracy is being enabled by fear. Right? Fear that I'm going to lose my position as being dominant in the society. Fear about me not being the majority. And people are embracing this fear and embracing who's going to go out and execute to prevent this from happening. So my hope is that we as a people, whether it's sports or having avenues, work together better, live together better, support each other, help each other. And I do think my last comment is going to be the JFF. You have to do a better job with the diaspora community. And by the way, since I see Beaufort in the game in there, you need to have the same conversation with Trinidad. Okay, so before the game is saying you think Jamaica is better than El Salvador. No, I think the Jamaica team look like they've been well coached. If you watch how they play, because we've always complained about the Jamaica teams being very, very selfish. Even the senior team, frankly. I think the selfish part of football is always going to be there when individuals have certain skill set. But I do see an attempt, even the games we played the other against Trinidad, people trying to pass the ball. The thing about it is, this sounds critical. For the senior team, a lot of times, they couldn't even control the ball well. Now, some of the controls were difficult, but if you look at some of the opportunities they got, the control let them down. Now, we've seen pros make mistakes when they control the ball, right? But it's not normal for them to make mistakes when they control the ball. Control should be second nature. And I think that it's just so some of the fundamentals are not being... Some of the fundamentals that you should have when you're a pro and should be second nature is not there, and that's part of the problem. Part of the problem. Warren says, congratulations to the under 17, 10 to 13 to 1 to 10 to 13 to bring. Yeah, look, the team, as I said before, I'm not afraid they've done a good job with the team. They look like they've been playing together for a while. They look like they get along. In Jamaica, sometimes when somebody passes the ball, you cuss and carry on. You ain't really see none of that. Somebody make a mistake, like the first part of the game, the first 2 minutes, the youngster missed a goal, which you're just like, how can you miss that? And people are saying, well, he wasn't trying hard enough and he wasn't doing this. No, the kid was in position. He wanted to score the goal. He wasn't doing anything exceptional. He just missed it. And you just got to take a step back and say, you know what? Everybody missed goals. I see Anthony missed one for Man U where he slid at the last minute. It happens, right? You get excited. I think the kid got excited. People are saying, oh, he did this and he didn't do this right and he got complacent and he was lax. No, he wasn't. He was trying to score. The ball must have bumped. I don't know what happened because he probably AstroTurf. He just missed. He probably got excited. It's the first game of the tournament for him, or second game, I should say. His chance to score, and he just missed. And it happens. But I do think I'm encouraged by how they look, but I'm also concerned about the level of competition and how do you judge clearly. But that's difficult to do. So Cranky, I didn't mean to put that up. What if we scouted more players from Europe? I don't. Here's my view on the Europe thing, people. It's all part of my drive to see the more connection between all the Jamaican communities globally, right? Because imagine if you the more you bring people from another region, the more they're going to be talked about. We hear people say, well, people in Jamaica can't associate with the players because they're most of them overseas. Well, it's the same thing if they are local. So if you're promoting the players from the UK who have Jamaican parentage, people talking about it, they're playing well, they the World Cup, it only broadens the horizon. It doesn't lessen it. And I think some of those players in England, think about it, 14, 15 can play for England, they can play for Jamaica. They build the affiliation with Jamaica. They want to play for Jamaica. Then when they're 19, 20 and they want to come to the national team like a Greenwood or a Marcus Rogers or a Ramsey from Villa, they may want to come versus playing for England. But if we don't build that affiliation early, then why would they even think about Jamaica? When they play for England in the 17 and 18, and why would Jamaica even be part of their radar? Some of them, you know how the Jamaican men are. They ain't even got no father. And you guys don't have me saying that, but it's true. They ain't got no father in the household. So they ain't got affiliation with Jamaica because mainly Jamaican men a lot of times. So if you build that camaraderie with them, it's easy to bring them into the national team. Because as we can see from the Trinidad game, there's a dearth of talent in Jamaica at the level they need to be. Like the Trinidad games were so disappointing on both sides, both for me, for Trinidad and for Jamaica. So disappointing. Can't keep the ball, can't control the ball, can't pass the ball, can't break down defense. It was a hard watch. It was a hard watch. Those games were a hard watch, people. And that's the best talent Jamaica has locally. Now, obviously, they have Jamaican players playing overseas or better than some of the players there, but I expected to see a few gems. And the coach was so political, people, because the reporters, I'm not sure what you asked the coach's question. Which players did you see that XYZ? And he said he saw a few, but he can't give them a goddamn name. Excuse my French. He ain't seen nobody. The only players to me on both teams who look decent was, what's his name, Phillips. And by the way, why didn't Phillips start both games? And why did Phillips start the second game? I will pick the team. American Garden. Do better, man. Do better. That kid, I don't seen Phillips play before. I wasn't impressed when he played against Guatemala in the US. But he came in and changed the first game. And you ain't starting the second game? Like, really? I don't understand. Yeah, Temal. He's really good. He's really good. He's got the whole package, by the way. He's got the whole package. He's not just a traditional forward. He's not like a Haaland. He's a versatile forward. That pass he made between two defenders in the first half, the pace on the pass was just so deft. It was impressive. So if he can maintain composure under more pressure, then yeah, he'll do well. He'll do well. But he's gonna need support around him. But no, the game against Trinidad, I walked away saying, JFF, if you don't give us better product, you ain't gonna get no subscription. The product got to be better. That product did not sell the JPL well. Both the JPL and whatever league they have in Trinidad didn't sell them well. You didn't sit there saying, you know what? Because we're spoiled with like English league football, right? Because we are elitist when it comes to football. But it wasn't even elitist football. It was just, the football was just not good. Not good. And if you want people to buy your product, you got to sell the product well. Now, the girls are playing 2 games, is my understanding. There was an announcement that came out today about this. Is this it? No, this is not it. This is it. This announcement came out today. You guys probably can't read that, so let me see if I can blow it up. And it says, JFF secures 2 friendlies for the Reggae Girlz in February window. Kind of a little bit late announcement, JFF. Jesus, Lord. You just secured this? It reads, the Jamaica Football Federation has confirmed 2 friendlies for the Reggae Girlz on February 23rd and February 26th against South American side, Peru. Both matches will take place in the capital city in Lima at the Estadio Miguel Gra. The kickoff of both games is 4 p.m. Jamaica and Peru are currently in the same time zone, so 4 p.m. Jamaica time. You would think you want to play the game like 7 o'clock when people reach up from home, but I don't understand that sometimes. But anyway, I don't know why we come with it. Just like the JFF at the game on the Super Bowl day. Like JFF, plan better. You got to think about when most people, when they plan these things, people, they think about when the audience are available to watch the program. Especially now you have the subscription, your time. That's why I see people, Liverpool play 7:30 in the morning and 12:30 in the morning in England, because people in Asia got to watch it because they have enough Asia fans. That's how you do it. It's all about the money. Anyway, this will be the first time that both teams will be facing each other since 2019 edition of the Pan American Games, where Jamaica secured a 1-0 victory. Similar to Jamaica, Peruvians are using these fixtures in preparation for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, spoke about this arrangement. He said, we're committed to ensure FIFA windows prior to the World Cup qualifiers in October 2025 are occupied for the girls, and this window is no different. We're confident that these friendlies against Peru will continue to aid Coach Busby and his staff in preparing the team for the World Cup qualifiers later this year, as we work towards qualifying for 3 senior FIFA World Cups in a row. And instead of name the Reggae Girlz, the girls squad for the 14. And by the way, just on that note, before I sign off, You heard what happened to Bunny Shaw in the UK, where she's subject to racism on social media, and she had to take some time off. She didn't play the game against Arsenal. It's always a big fixture, which I'm sure she was looking forward to. What was most disappointing is the coach come to the press conference and say he hadn't talked to her. I hope the JFF reach out to her, because I heard one of the ladies on Sky talking about that, and was talking about Man City and the JFF. So I hope the JFF have reached out to Bunny and try to give her sort of reassurance and comfort that one needs in difficult times. Racism is alive and well. It's only going to get worse, people. So tighten up and buckle up. Right. Yeah. Tighten up and buckle up. Triple E said we're tuning from our phones. Yeah, I don't know why you want to play games at 4 p.m. people in the middle of the day in all parts of the world where, apart from the UK, for example, North America, which you get most of your money from, Jamaica, and you play a 4 o'clock game. That's poor planning. So who in Peru go watch a game then? I don't care about women football in Peru. We'll watch it. It's a same time Jamaica. Why is Peru playing the game at 4 p.m.? That makes no sense. If you want to stream JFF and people to keep the stream and keep the subscription, well, I guess if you put the 10, just spend the $10 every day, you'll still watch it. But if you're at work, you probably not get a chance to watch it. Not smart. Not smart. Not smart. Not smart, people. Somebody says that the JFF did issue something for Bunny Shaw. So I'm glad they did, and I hope that continues. We have to understand when our players are in difficult situations, whether they're current or former, we have to support them. So that's a good thing. So let me sign off by saying this, which is this. I'm not acting for division between Diaspora and locals. In fact, to the contrary. But I do think a lot of effort I see with the JFF is focused locally. And they need to pivot and think about what's the cost benefit of decisions that they make, inclusive of engagement with the locals and Diaspora. Do they have the bandwidth to do both at the same level? Well, not even at the same level. They're not even focused on Diaspora at all. It's a trickle now. They have to spend more time, effort, and resources to focus on Diaspora. If you want to connect this base, which is pretty close to where you are, you have to find ways to reach a community. And people in Jamaica, and people here actually, outside Jamaica, have to stop thinking about Jamaica as the 2.whatever million people on the island, and think about Jamaica as being 6 million and counting. That's how you got to think about it. And make sure we are operating as a collective, and we think about each other when we're doing things, and we not think about things in silos because it's not helping us, right? So I know they're the host team, but I'm sure Jamaica could negotiate to say, because why are you going to play them then if you're going to make no money off the game? Just to give her some run out? It's not like Peru's no top team. So, yeah. Cranky, overtime for politics. No, we're not doing overtime. But I'm going to drop a video between now and tomorrow evening on Musk and Trump. So look out for it. Hit the like button, people. You know, so I don't come here and whine about likes and subscribe anymore. Because I'm tired if you do that. I'm not doing much program anymore. I give no I'm going to give me. Same effort me get from me I give back. Not the ones who are regulars, but the one who were tangential, I get the same effort you give me. So I appreciate if you don't like and don't subscribe. You want to do it, I can't stop you. But I come here 4 or 5 days a week and then get some limited views. I not do that. Can't do that. What are you saying, DC? DC, what are you talking about, DC? DC, what are you talking about? But look, I think I think Kyle is doing a fabulous job. Kyle come pick me up, people. Kyle come check me. Kyle got a restaurant. Kyle make sure something there. Because if they don't want to go find on TV or YouTube, do them thing there. Kyle engage in restaurant in different locals. Not sure what happened to the locals. He's doing a lot of legwork on the ground. So Kyle, big up to you and those who are supporting you. He has a band that was at the game too. And by the way, JFF, I did say this before JFF. And look, by the way, people, let me say this. We give JFF some credit. They did take some advice. No matter what you hear them say. Because Chung did say that. Dennis Chung did say that. I saw where they took some advice. I'm going to give you an example of where they took advice. I'm going to give myself credit where credit is not due to me. But during the stream, where Tika and I were doing the stream, I mentioned that there's no time on the screen. When you have the label there of where the game is coming from, the score, There was no time. So you have no idea what we were in the game. And I think after it was mentioned, 30 seconds later, it came up. So maybe they're listening, or maybe just by chance, happen chance. I don't know. But it did come up, which I appreciate. So look, we don't all know everything. Advice, we can all give advice. Hopefully the advice makes sense to those who are in the position of power. They leverage advice to improve the product. It was a tough time I didn't really totally beat the JFF about the streaming because I know there'll be growing pains. And I didn't think they should have charged $10, but them charged it. It is what it is. And they got enough views. A lot of people want to watch the games. But that number can be exponentially bigger if they really make a concerted effort to really engage the diaspora community. Because I hear the complaint that diaspora don't really care. Because they don't know. When I talk to some of my people I know who play football and follow football, they're like, I didn't know we were playing. You have to go to the sources that they listen to, the places that they frequent, and make sure the message get out to them. And you give them the guilt trip about supporting back the island also, that guilt trip that people get to support the community. And you'd be surprised how many people get involved. They do know the links to get to the parties, because are party people them. But you have to find ways to reach them wherever they are, so they know you're out there doing something, so they can support it. Don't make a complaint and say, no, the diaspora don't support it, because you ain't reaching them. They don't know. And you ain't making an effort to reach them. You just want them to just turn up. And as I've said before, they may have alternative. Right? They may have alternative. But anyway, let me close off by saying, because it's almost 9 o'clock, thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here. I don't think I'm doing any more show for the rest of the week, but I want to drop a couple of videos if I can. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of the week. I hope, by the way, I hope the JFF is streaming the girl. Hey, JFF, let us know. See that? You have to notice people. JFF, let us know if the Peru games are being streamed. So we can decide whether we want to cancel my $10 thing or not. Let us know the game has been streamed. Okay? So we can watch the games because we want to support the program. So let us know if the Peru games are being streamed, because you may get new additions to it. Because people go out and spread the word about JFF Live, spread the word about what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. $10 now killing them. You can do enough. But now killing them. Support the program. And if you can't afford the $10 for the year, then buy the windows when they have games and you support the program. Right? Because any money you contribute to the JFF, I'm sure it's going to go to support football in Jamaica at large, and that's very, very important. So support the initiative, support the program, and hopefully it will continue to get elevated, improve, and get better. Bless up, everyone. Thanks for being here. I wasn't going to have an out, but I'm going to do an out. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here, and have a good evening. Peace out. Cranky Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Cranky Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. From the coast to the field, we'll never lose, because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky Life, get to know the name, because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky Life, give me my Cranky Life. I want my Cranky Life. Must have my Cranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat, and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Cranky Life. Tell them, Cranky Life. Heed them, Cranky Life. Want them, Cranky Life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana. Visit Cranky Live, tune into Cranky Live, like up Cranky Live, subscribe to Cranky Live. Cranky Live coming to you on weekdays, Cranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky Live, me say fi tell them Cranky Live, me say fi heed them Cranky Live. On them Cranky Live, Cranky Live will be around. Cranky Live is the best in town. Me say fi heed them, me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky Live, Cranky Live. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky Live, Cranky Live. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky Live. Cranky Live, Cranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.